Hi everyone, and welcome to my home. And I guess we're all getting used to doing stuff at home a bit more than we have been. And I'm not self-isolating, by the way. I'm just working at home and still doing other bits and pieces as appropriate. Following government guidelines, I think that's one of the first things I want to say is that we're all trying to make sure we do our part as a part of the collective effort of the nation. And so as I'm talking to you as an Eastgate family, obviously that's part of what we're looking at, but also actually just how do we fit into society as a whole. And undoubtedly we are facing a challenge that is really unprecedented. I guess only those who experienced the Second World War would have some experience of something that was more dramatic than this, and certainly that was. And I was interested in a post that I saw on Facebook just yesterday, where contrasting actually that the challenge of the Second World War, where people were actually going to war, where actually we're having to try and contain something by our own self-discipline of being at home. I thought that's an interesting contrast. So we're all facing challenges, and I hope you're doing okay. Obviously, what I want to bring to you is some degrees of encouragement, a little bit of instruction. Not going to take too long, and we want to be producing regular updates for you, just so that you know what's going on, and we're trying to keep in touch. So the first thing I was just going to say was I was just reflecting back to January, when I preached in early January at Eastgate, and how during the Christmas and New Year period God had told me not to make any plans. And he said, because any plans you make would be too small. And at that stage, I guess I had some idea what that might mean. I was puzzling a little bit about it, and I think we were all somewhat intrigued, but I don't think any of us anticipated something of this measure. And when God's saying it would be too small a thing, really don't want to take any satisfaction out of this world situation. I don't want us to be opportunistic about it, but it is a phenomenal circumstance we actually find ourselves in, and I guess we need to rise up to the opportunities of being really good neighbours, not just to one another within Eastgate, but also good neighbours to those around us, and also not to be contributing to the fear and panic that's going on around us, and to rise above that. And God definitely has encouraged me time and time again over recent months with the verse in 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, which says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but love, power and a sound mind. And I would like that to be probably a guiding principle for us at Eastgate in an ongoing way, but also particularly this time. We haven't been given a spirit of fear, but fear is knocking on our door, panic is knocking on our door, and I think we just need to make sure that we as Christians learn how to live with the peace of God that passes all understanding in our hearts and overflowing through us. And one of the best ways we can do that is actually think about the good stuff that it tells us in Philippians chapter 4. Let's concentrate on good news, and let's keep sharing the good news. I think that's going on a lot. I've been encouraged by lots of stuff on social media. There's some very amusing stuff out there, but people that are really trying to build one another up, and I think there is a good community effort going on. We're going to be looking at helping people connect across Eastgate. I saw that the Croydon Connect group have found a way of doing it by a Zoom conference, and that's what we're doing. Actually, a lot of us today are having a tutorial with regard to the use of this online conferencing facility called Zoom, which enables us to connect online with different people on the screen at the same time. We're looking at how we'll use the media, so we're looking at how we do a Sunday service online for you, with the media team really working hard at that. And I think that's another thing that we can look back upon and be very grateful for, that God prompted us to put resources into our media team, and even more so going forward, but that we're better prepared for this than we certainly would have been a year ago in terms of our media response. So that's going on. we're hoping to record our first online Sunday this Sunday, the 22nd of March, which should be available for you, we hope, actually late in the latter part of Sunday. So please pray for us with regard to that. Let's interact with one another. I particularly can ask you to consider those who would be more isolated and more vulnerable than others within Eastgate and outside of that. Single people, widows, those maybe single mums or stuff like that, or single dads even, just trying to help actually those who, if they're in an isolated situation, will be having probably a tougher time than some of the rest of us who would actually just be saying, well, it's more like time at home. So look out for one another. As I said, follow government guidelines, and we will keep you up to date with what's going on in terms of Eastgate's direction and dynamics. And just to let you know that I think we have sent out an email that the Eastgate building is now closed to the public. It is being used by certain people for certain specific reasons, but it's not open to the general public, and that would mean it's not open to generally to Eastgate unless you've got a good reason that's been prior arranged for you to be there. So I'm going to sign off because we want to keep these reasonably short, these video logs for you, so that it's manageable. And I'll be in touch soon, and there'll be others who will be contributing to this. So let me pray for you. I pray that the God of all wisdom will grant us peace and guard our hearts and minds with the peace that passes all understanding. And I'm going to read out the verse that I keep on referring to in Romans chapter 15, verse 13. I think this is a verse for the moment. It says this. If I can find it, which I can, it says this. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him. Let's keep trusting in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Okay, we'll be in touch again soon. Thanks.